What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, there was some chatter in the land expansion channel, which I'm actually having a lot of fun spending more time in, as both Cryptomancer and Farpetrod are much more active there answering people's questions, so we appreciate both of you guys for doing that. But one thing that dropped, a little bit of alpha, that is going to have major implications across many different things, is the fact that the Grain and DEC liquidity pool will not be live with 1.5. So Farpetrod had mentioned that in a previous message from a couple of days ago, and then I just followed up on that, right? I asked him here, I said, you know, you mentioned the Grain DEC LP wouldn't be live in 1.5. Does that mean the only way to get Grain is to buy it from the store or produce yourself? To which he responded, yes, with the 1.5 release, you would have to harvest yourself, auto buy it from the Splinterlands store, right? Which you're burning DEC. So this is not revenue for Splinterlands before anybody calls out for, you know, a money grab. You auto buy it, one DEC for 1 grain, or work out peer-to-peer trades and pay the transportation fees. So again, I said this is huge. It has implications across everything when it comes to land on the initial launch. First and foremost, you will not be able to sell your grain. So if you are going in and planning to just harvest grain and think that the ROI is going to be there, there's going to be zero ROI unless you have a good steady network of which you'll be able to send it peer-to-peer with people. And I believe there's like a 10 to 15% tax on that if you're sending it to another player. The transportation fees is what I'm referring to. So you'll have to account for that, agree on a price, and it's all going to be manual, right? You have to send X amount, they have to agree to X amount and send the appropriate DEC. So if that happens, how many individual plot owners who were planning on just stocking up on grain early on will no longer be able to do that because they only have 1 or 2 plots? So in that way, the first thing, and I'll let me start this on a good note, I think a lot more DEC is going to get burned because you'll have a lot of people early on that are just like, you know what, screw it. Let me just go in and buy the grain. I want to clear my plots. I want to get started working. SPS is only being given out to a smaller amount of plots because of this, right? People who are willing to work their plots for SPS. So therefore, let me just spike the, let me just take the hit and essentially go and buy the grain for 1 DEC off of the store. Now, on the flip side, I'm trying to present the counter argument here too. If this happens, how many people then start to mine SPS, right? I just said many people probably won't be, but if you only have like 1 plot or 2 plots and you were planning on doing grain, and now it's like, I can't do anything with the grain, at least for a month and a half until 1.6 comes out, and that's kind of the rough time frame that they've given. If you can't do anything with the grain, why wouldn't you go then for SPS? But in order to go for SPS, you will have to pay for the DEC. You'll have to buy it you'll have to pay for the grain. You'll have to buy it from someone else, or you'll have to figure out, you'll have to buy it from the store, which I would argue both options will be expensive until we can have an open market, a liquidity pool, automated market maker that will kind of normalize it out based on what the entire market demand and supply is, versus just, hey, I need to buy it. Who's the nearest available, seller that's willing to sell it to me at a cost that I'm willing to pay? I would argue that whenever 1.6 or the pools do come out, the price is going to drop significantly because then people will be able to do a lot more grain. So in a way, it's hard to say what's going to happen. I would imagine if the SPS returns are so good, then we are going to see a lot of people who just say, screw it, let me pay the DEC for grain, let me buy it from the store, just because getting the SPS right now is such a good deal. And if the DEC burn that comes from that ends up meaning that we start to trigger the flywheel and there's a lack of DEC out in the marketplace, well, all of a sudden people are burning SPS, there's less to go around, people are buying SPS, the price of the rewards start to go up too. It could be this weird kind of like self-fulfilling prophecy or life spiral, as I like to call it. Again, the biggest factor in all of this is going to be the research tokens, which, I've talked about at length in other videos, but it's like, how many people are going to be willing to pay, willing to pay for DEC to just go in for research tokens? So at the end of the day, if you have a lot of plots of land, you will now need to be very, very thoughtful. And if you caught the land stream, land preparation stream with myself, Darkest Night, and Virus, you saw that Virus is very well prepared in terms of like planning out how much grain he's going to need. But even he will need to go in and figure out and probably tweak things, because I believe he was a net consumer of grain. And if his plots are not able to create that much grain, he's going to have to tweak things around and maybe not put as much production towards SPS or research tokens, because he'll need more on the grain side. And if that happens across the board, well, maybe that pool for SPS starts to get really, really small. Again, there's so many, this is such a dynamic situation. There's so many factors to consider. But ultimately, I find this to be something, well, I don't like the fact that it's not going to be with 1.6, but we're dealing with realities here. So, sorry, 1.5. Hopefully it does come out with 1.6, and that's, right around the corner. Farpatrat even said that this is going to be something that is top priority. It's just they didn't want to delay things any further. So getting this out may have unintended consequences that are beneficial for the entire ecosystem if we're all burning a lot more DEC. But at the same time, it could also, I do believe it is going to change a lot of the behaviors and the planning that people had, thinking that they'd be able to go and buy grain easily and cheaply off the marketplace. People are going to run those numbers. We already know how much it's going to cost for grain from the store. So either that or the P2P market is going to be on fire, which, again, that's something that we can figure out here and do within at least this channel if people need grain or are in Area 51, for example. But I'm curious to know your thoughts. How do you feel about all of this? And, I'm still excited for land. Obviously, it's not the most ideal launch, but at the end of the day, I want to get something going and have the team iterate from here. I am excited for 1.5 and then 1.6 to hopefully follow that within a couple of weeks, 1.7 all the way up to 2.0. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.